Statement.
Sure. Whatever you want to
If you
do.
got one.
What are we talking about? Fall baseball here?
Yeah, just how you think the fall went overall.
Well, the good thing about fall is, we get to obviously evaluate a lot of our new players, and there's a lot of them. It's an ongoing process, but for the most part, we figured out who we feel like can help us this year, and probably some other of the younger players that possibly will be redshirted. So it was big. Obviously we know what Fletcher can do and Kerstad can do, and Martin and some of those guys, the guys that really need to step it up this year, some guys that were in our program like McFarland. He needs to have a good year for us. For us to be a little deeper with our lineup, he needs to hit well, and had a pretty good fall for the most part. So Casey Opitz, Zach Plunkett, two catchers. We need those guys to continue to get better, and they both had pretty good falls for us. So as far as position player-wise, there's still some holes to be filled. I think that Jack Kinley will be an everyday player this year, whether he's playing third or short. As far as second base, Jacob Nesbitt did really well this year. Still learning how to play the position a little bit. Redshirted him last year, but had a good fall with the bat. And then Trevor Ezel is a fifth-year transfer student that is going to be in the middle of it. With our, we're planning on him being a guy that's going to be on the field every day. He's just got to get his arm healthy. One of the outfield positions still wide open, and we got 3 or 4 guys still battling for that one. So as far as pitching, starting pitching, Campbell, is a guy we know is going to be a weekend starter. As far as the other spots, it could be Cole Ramage. We're hoping that Kevin Kopps will be 100% ready to go. He's been throwing the ball extremely well lately. Cody Scroggins threw 5 innings in our Red-White series. We extended him, and I think he only gave up no runs. So, he's a guy that, would like to start. There are a few others. Freshman Patrick Wicklander, one of our left-handers, had a really good fall. He's got good stuff, continues to get bigger and stronger and throw harder. And, there's more in there. We feel like probably the strength of our team coming out of fall would be the bullpen, the depth of our bullpen. We have a lot of good arms. Some of them are inexperienced, but we just need to figure out who's going to be our starting pitchers.
Casey, is he kind of a wild card in the infield?
Martin?
Yeah, where he playing?
He played awfully well at short. I would say right now, Casey and obviously Kinley are the 2 shortstops, but Jack is such a good third baseman. He's probably one of the best fielding third basemen in the country. He's a good shortstop as well. Casey's a little younger, has more experience on the field, and has more range. He's quicker. He may have the best range of anybody in the country. But I would say Casey right now is our shortstop, and Kinley would play third. But, it could change.
Goodhart, what did he show you this fall, and is he a guy that may lock into that first baseman spot?
Yeah, he can play first. He can play left field. He can DH. He's new at first. Left-handed bat, though, that can hit. And he continues to get bigger and stronger now that we're in the offseason. I think he was one of the, guys that came in a little nervous at first and a little banged up. But he could definitely be that guy.
How'd you like Kerstad in the right? Is that pretty much a set deal now?
Yeah, it took him a little bit to get it going out there. He played really well the last couple of weeks. He played center field in high school. He played left field here. We just feel like he looks more like a right field type guy. We can put more of an athletic running type guy in left field, see if that works out. But I think he adapted well. He likes it over there. He throws good from over there. And, he threw 2 or 3 runners out last year at the plate, and I think this will give him a chance to throw some runners out at third base.
And then left, I guess Goodhart's there, and Christian. Who all was going to mix them left?
Well, we had Goodhart there. We had Christian Franklin, a true freshman that played there. He's a really good defender. He's got a real good opportunity to be our starting center fielder next year in 2020 as a sophomore. But as a freshman, if we're just putting the best defense out there, he's the guy in left.
Looks like you guys have more speed maybe with this group this fall?
So we have a lot more speed. We put a big emphasis on base running. I think it showed up in our two scrimmages when we had more people in the stands that could watch us play. Just dirt ball reads and stealing bases and taking maybe a little bit more chances. But we've been working on it, so we said, hey, let's see how we can handle it. And at Little Rock, we ran the base extremely well. We took advantage of balls in the dirt, and it's good to see. But we're definitely quicker.
McFarland kind of what's set him back, and he's kind of been in and out.
Well, he got mono this year. How about that? So, second half of fall ball, for about 4 or 5 days he wasn't feeling well at all. Right in the middle of some scrimmages, and then he didn't play at Little Rock, and he didn't play in our series either at the end, and that was because of I think you have 21 days you have to sit out, and so that definitely set him out. Now, he had a really good summer with a wood bat. He hit over 300, and, we feel like that, he's due. We're hoping this is, a situation where, there's some frustration and he's just ready to turn the corner. I think back of there's been some guys that didn't do much till their junior years, and we hope he falls into that category now.
His first base, is that pretty open, or is he kind of the guy and everybody's?
Yeah, I'd say, if he hits, he's going to play first. And, if he doesn't, then I think Goodhart will have a shot at it. We actually have played Casey Opitz at first a little bit. We actually started him against Little Rock. And defensively, he's probably our best defender. He's really good over there. And do what?
He's your best for defensive first baseman.
Yeah, as of right now, that's what I'd say.
Where else could he play, Opitz?
He can play anywhere. Obviously, he can catch. Probably maybe one of the best defensive catchers in the country. If the bat goes, it'll be good. Plunkett, I think, has really improved as well. I mean, he's a threat. Throws really well. Started him at Little Rock, but Opitz could play. He could play anywhere in the outfield as well.
Would you feel comfortable playing in a game, like in a real game?
I'll put him anywhere. I feel real comfortable playing him at first, anywhere in the outfield, and catching him, obviously.
With Blander, did he surprise you at all, how he came in and threw, or did you kind of expect that?
We knew he was going to be one of our best freshmen in here, along with Jacob Burton, and they both threw extremely well. Burton's worst outing was in our series at the end of fall. I think he was a little tired. But, we thought Patrick would have a chance to be a guy right out, of the chute next year. 90-mile-an-hour lefty. When he came in here, he's mostly upper 80s, but his fastball's gotten better. He's already put on 10 pounds and working hard. So, he's good.
Behind Coronin, who would you say would be your top bullpen guys?
Oh, we've got some guys. A guy that I didn't even mention is, Vermillion, because he didn't pitch this fall. He's recovering from a sore shoulder from summer. I think he was the #1 prospect in the summer league he played in, and was up to 95 this summer. He's a guy that he's going to throw his first bullpen in about 2 weeks. We're just being real cautious with him. And if Scroggins isn't a starter, I think he'll be one of the top guys. Obviously, Cronin. Angus Denton's a guy that can come in and get right-handers out at any time, and I think he proved it this summer. He was really valuable for his team. He threw I'm not sure the number of outings, but he led the league by a lot. Just throwing sidearm. I think Kostychuk has a chance to be in the bullpen. It just depends. If Kops isn't starting, he'll be in the bullpen. And, I could go on and on, but we feel good about all those guys.
Isaiah, did he show you what you needed to see? I knew you expected him, but just the way he pitched.
Yeah, early in the fall he was dominant, and then I think he got a little bit tired, and he had a couple of really good outings. He threw, he would probably tell you this as well. He didn't throw real well against UALR, but what he showed me was, I think it was the 4th inning, they had the bases loaded, no outs. And that was the 8, 9, and 1-hole hitter on, and he got 2, 3, and 4 out, and didn't give up a run. And that was really important for, I think, him and for us to see, to get out of that inning without giving up maybe more than one run. So we saw what we needed to see, and he's going to have a good year.
Anybody leaving in semester?
Well, yeah, there'll be a lot of guys leaving. I don't know where you'd have to ask me who. When I say a lot, we had a pretty good-sized roster, had walk-on kids, and there was maybe 1 or 2 scholarship guys, freshmen, that it happens every year, for one reason or another. Homesick, girlfriends at home, I'm not good enough, that are going to head out. So, our roster right now I think is down to 38.
Is there any like name guys that?
You'd have to ask me.
Okay.
So you need a roster?
roster.
So, yeah.
With Nesbitt in the bat, I mean, he hit well. Did you see enough in the field that if you need to play him, if Trevor's not ready, that he?
Oh yeah, I mean he played fine. He's just got to get acclimated to turning the double play on that side of the infield because we didn't turn it very well, and that's kind of what we're working on right now in our defensive stuff. It's not about fielding the ground ball. We need to get quicker around the bag and do some things. He went out and played summer ball up in the Northwoods League, and when we left for I think Georgia and we were done with finals. Last May. He went home for a week and then he headed up to Wisconsin and got after it. And, he stayed there. They play more games than any other league in the summer and played almost every day and did okay. And he came back here and more confident, a little better, and got off to a good start. And I think that really helped him. And he hit the ball well. And he's a good defender. He just, I think last year he was a little nervous, wasn't strong enough, and he's getting there.
See DH being a rotating thing, or who would be your top candidate?
Yeah, I mean it just depends. If McFarland's playing first and we have the freshman in left, it could be Goodhart. It just depends. But I do think it will rotate around a little bit and could be a situation, a right-left situation, and platoon there. I think it will evolve. It's not like I've got one guy, that's not a good defender that can really hit, and that we're just going to put him there. It's going to rotate a little bit.
How beneficial, when you look back, were those two exhibition games? That you guys had?
Well, I think time will tell on that, but for me personally, be able to, put guys out there and let them play against somebody else, you get to kind of see how they respond. Like Franklin, he got 2 or 3 hits against Little Rock, hit a triple down the right field line, and, just to see how he responds. I think just to get that out of the way, going on the road traveling and playing and just kind of getting that feeling out of the way, I think it could help us a little bit. The game against Wichita State, the guys were really excited to just play somebody else. And then, a few weeks later to run down there and play. I think it's beneficial to put one team on the field to play somebody else, and even to see how the bench acts, even to see how some of the guys on the team are acting when they're not playing. And I had to talk with 1 or 2 of them about it because I didn't like the way they acted when they weren't in the lineup against Wichita State. And I tell them all the time, you're the one who writes up the lineup around here. I just put you in a certain order. If you deserve to play, you're going to play. And so that was, I just think it was good. I think kicks us ahead a little bit.
Did they respond the way when you sort of, did they respond the right way?
Yeah, for the most part. There's always 1 or 2 that, they don't realize why they're not playing. And, you can see it in body language and those type of things. And I notice all those things. And so a day or 2 later, I might say something to them about it and tell them why they weren't starting. And then the other point might be is, we don't appreciate it and the team doesn't appreciate it. It's once we start playing somebody else, it's all about the team and not about the individual. And, like I said, we get these talks out of the way early instead of doing it in February.
Could you envision Opitz and Plunkett kind of platooning at catcher, or would you like one guy to emerge?
I think it's going to be I call it a 2-man system. I think that, both of them don't have enough experience right now. Opitz is, his whole situation, his background is 2 older brothers, both signed professional. One of them went to Nebraska and signed out of there, and the other one signed right out of high school. So he's been around the game, and he's been around good players. And for being a kid that didn't play a lot last year, he does have, I think, the mental side of it down. I mean, he's a tough kid, and he knows what it takes, and he'll be fine. But, it's really about I want him to hold up and be strong all year. It's hard to catch somebody that much. If I feel like, you've got a right-handed hitter and a switch hitter, and then another, Plunkett's more of just the catcher guy. But you could see him DHing a little bit, maybe against some left-handed pitching if we wanted to. But Zach's been around. He's older, he's bigger and stronger, but he doesn't have a lot of game experience. So I see them both catching, and could be a situation where, maybe we need a pinch runner. I don't feel, we need to be prepared for all that. And they both have great attitudes, and obviously they both want to play. But at the same time, I think both of them realize that we're just doing everything we can to keep them fresh, but also try to win a game.
Bill Kirstead, I know he had the flu a little bit, but how do you think he handled not playing ball in the summer? I think he told us a while back it drove him, or maybe it was Martin, I can't remember which one. One of them said they wanted to play, kind of went a little crazy. But how do you think? I guess Martin didn't play either, right?
You're right, both of them didn't.
How do you think it benefited those guys to
Well,
get a break from playing?
I think both of them were basically worn out when we ended the season, to be honest with you. And I think it really helped. I mean, Heston, if you look at his stats in the fall, they were incredible. I mean, he hit over 400. He had 7 home runs and 8 doubles, and I mean, he hit well. And he didn't, like I said, he was sick a little bit, but he had some big days. Casey had ups and downs. I think maybe him taking off the summer slowed him down offensively a little bit. But really, he has so much talent. It's more about technique a little bit, trying to stay through the middle of the field. And we feel like from now until the season starts, this is a big time for him to really just work on things. So I think it was probably good for both of them. They both came back strong, and I think mentally fresh, and they'll both be better for it.
I can't remember which publication. I'm in Baseball America, but one of them, I guess, has Martin as the #1 guy his junior year for the draft. How do you feel about that?
Well, it's like I told Casey, just means you got to work a lot harder because there's nowhere to go but down, according to that paper. I think that was D1 baseball, and it goes on, when you tools, running, throwing, hit for power, just grading them out a little bit. But, I think it said 1 or 2, but maybe when they wrote it down, they put him at the top. And I just think, it just puts a little pressure on the kid. But it gives us an opportunity to talk to him about it early and what's going to happen in the future, expectation your junior year, and you need to just kind of keep your head down and grind it out and not worry about all that stuff. And it's kind of gave us a little head start on that.
What'd you think of his fall and just kind of how he handled that, being in that spot?
His fall, I think, and he would tell you the same thing, it was just average. I thought he fielded the ball pretty well, threw the ball well, made some plays that, weren't too many people in the stands, but he made a couple plays and a couple scrimmages where you just kind of scratch your head and go, wow, that's not too many guys can do that at this level. Just range and getting rid of the ball with some velocity on it. Offensively, he got off to a really slow start, but kicked it into gear towards the end, and I think he'll pick it up from here on.
He was, I guess he'd probably be good anywhere, but he was really good at third. Why do you like him so much at short?
Because he's quick, and he just has so much range. And, there's range, and then when you get the ball, what can you do with it? Well, he can still throw you out from the hole, or he can throw you out from way behind second base because of his arm strength. And, it's like anybody else. He was a shortstop till he got here. When I say anybody else, a lot of the infielders, they were mostly shortstops. But he has a little more range than a lot of guys I've coached.
That was Fletcher's fault.
It was a little bit like I see from some juniors. What I mean by that is they're a little bored with it, and we had to talk to him about hey, pick it up a little bit, and they just try to get through it. But I would say it was very average. But he did show me some signs of really making an effort to go the other way, hit the ball to left field, left center, and not pull everything and try to hit everything in that pond. Some days we really have to control him in our batting practice to, not just go up there and do that, and we do, but maybe him a little more than some. And I mean, this is a big year for him. And, Dom's a great guy, real popular amongst his teammates, always smiling. That's just the way he is. We just want him to have a special year, and we don't want him to worry about things, but we want him to, lead us a little bit. And, some guys, it comes easy for him. Some guys it doesn't. He's more of a leader by, example. He doesn't say a whole lot to the guys. And so if you're going to lead by example, you got to get after it every day, and that's what we want him to do.
You talked to Benitendi since the series ended?
Just through texting. He's obviously extremely excited. He texted me back within an hour of game 4 and 5 after their game, which I didn't expect it the first time, or maybe it was 2 hours after the second game, and after when they won the championship. But I'm leaving him alone a little bit. I'll probably talk to him the next few days, let him get over all that hype and move on.
You just texted him congrats. What was your
Congrats, what a great comeback. I think they were down 4 runs going into the 8th, came back and won that game, and good luck tomorrow, that type of stuff. He'd send back, thanks, and we need to get one more, and little things like that.
What do you think of that catch he made against the Astros? I think it was game 4.
I'm glad he caught it.
Yeah. Well,
Because if he didn't catch it, they were going to lose, because that ball would have gone to the fence, or they just scored 3 on it. But that was a great play. And Andrew's really a smart player, and I think that he felt like when that ball left the bat after a couple of steps, that's when they have to make their decision that quick to leave their feet, even knowing if that ball gets by them, instead of maybe going to the extra innings, they were going to lose. Because I think they would have scored 3 on that. Too easy, obviously, and they were down 2. And he felt like he could get there, and he did. It was just an incredible catch, and the other catch along that fence out there the other night was pretty special as well. Yeah, he jumped, because that fence, that's a little scary out there. There's no padding on that fence, and there's numbers and old light bulbs and all kinds of things sticking out on that thing, and it's a little spooky. And he's learned how to play it pretty well. I mean, the Red Sox, they have 3 center fielders in the outfield, and I think that's what every coach wants. And it saved him a lot of runs, and obviously it saved him that game against Houston.
Having 2 guys win back-to-back years, I mean, how much does that give you pride, but then help this program in recruiting?
Well, it's awesome. I mean, just being able to, first of all, get a little for them individually, it's great, and their families and their team. But for us, being here at Arkansas and our baseball program brings a little bit of attention to us. And you look at the World Series as a whole, or even the playoffs, the amount of Division I players that were in all the games. I saw something on it a while back, and then you just go break it down to just SEC players. There's a lot. A lot of teams represented, whether it's Florida or South Carolina or Vanderbilt or Arkansas and Georgia, and you could go on and on. It says a lot about our league and the development of our league and how good a talent we get in our league. And these kids come to school, they can play in the big leagues pretty quick, and they make a lot of money and a good living. So it helps us probably retain some guys, keep them from signing that contract right out of high school.
Benitendi, he's a 7th pick, so he knew he was on a fast track probably, but to think just, 3 years ago he was playing in Omaha, and then 3 years later he's playing in the World Series. I mean, what is that? Just kind of mind-boggling when you saw that? What'd you think?
Well, I mean, you can't project that or predict that because some guys leave college and it's not the same in pro ball, even though they were great at this level. But what carries him is he's just good at everything. When it comes to being on a baseball field, he can run the bases, he can bunt, he can hit, he can throw. I think did they say he led the National League in throwing runners out of bases this year? I think he threw 11 or 12 out. He's accurate. He can hit for a little bit of power. The average is starting to get there a little bit. I mean, so that moves you through the minor leagues. We felt like he would move pretty good. Did we think we would get to the big leagues that quick? Probably not. And then as far as just being on a good team, I mean, they have a good team, and they like each other, and they're young, and they played hard.
I think he's playing, Ted Williams played left, he has played left, Rice played left. I mean, how cool is that to see? That's a pretty iconic position in Boston.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a position that there's been some superstars in, and time will tell to see where he figures in there. But in a couple of years, we're going to have to pay him because right now, he's getting what most of the young guys get, which is a lot, but not a lot compared to the other guys. And there'll be some other teams taking a shot at him, and I imagine Boston will try to keep him. So that'll be fun to watch, see how that develops.
Did his summer, that between his freshman and sophomore years, that influenced you a lot? It seems like more and more you've got less guys playing summer ball and more lifting weights.
Yeah, it did, I guess, to answer your question, because Andrew, his freshman year, and I've said this a few times, a lot of people don't realize, he hit like 290, but he also broke his hamate bone before Christmas. That's a 6-week injury, and that is a bad injury. The bat will break that little bone in your hand. And so he came back in January, he wasn't ready to go. We start the season, it's still bothering him. Gets off to a bad start. Then midway through the season, he tweaked his hamstring. This is a guy who's a runner, a center fielder. You know, he had the hit record state of Ohio in high school for the most hits for a high school kid ever over a career. And he comes here and he failed a little bit for the first time. And it bothered him a lot. And he'd probably tell you that. But he kind of got it going at the end of the year. You know, I moved him from the leadoff spot to the 3-hole. Our season ended at the University of Virginia in the regional. We came in second to them, and we just said, hey, you don't need to go to summer ball, and just go home and lift and get healthy, run. And he did it. I mean, he came back in the fall, and we're like, wow, this is a different guy. I mean, it was like night and day as far as just everything. Just he wasn't timid. He was just the way the ball jumped off his bat, just everything. You could just tell he was going to have a big year. I mean, there's no way in the fall we knew, at least by the end of the fall, we knew he was going to be a good pick. But we didn't know, we couldn't project what he did. And he never slowed down. And, yeah, it probably helped influence me to tell Heston up in Omaha this year at one of the practices that I thought it might be a good idea for him not to go to the Cape Cod League and go home and just rest. I mean, the kid had 250 at-bats, and he played every day of the season as a true freshman, and it would be a good thing. And with Martin, we'd already kind of planned on him doing that and just trying to rest, get ahead academically, and get ready for his sophomore year.
You ever wonder if Andrew had been a little bit younger and you could have had him as a junior? You ever wonder what that might have turned out?
Yeah, it would have been a little better. It couldn't have been much worse. So, that was just the way everything went down that year. We had injuries. Bobby Warnes out of nowhere signed on us. We didn't think he was going to sign, and all of a sudden he signs. So we lost an infielder there. There were a couple other issues that just one of those things, and we weren't good enough to overcome it. You know, we just couldn't finish games. We didn't have enough pitching. We didn't field good enough. We didn't have enough offense, and we went from being a team with about 3 weeks left in the season and like 13 games that was in a regional, and it just fell apart. And you look back on it, and probably the best thing we got out of it is we got it going again, because if you have another bad year, then you start to think, wow, how are we going to turn this around? But the 17 team played really well, and then 18, we're back in Omaha and almost won the championship.
I know you structured everything out in those 2 exhibitions, but with Scroggins, Ramage, and Cronin, is that something you could do if you needed to, 7th, 8th, and 9th innings, kind of going to those guys?
It definitely could. Again, Cronin's going to be a guy that's going to be at the end, and Scroggins, I have a lot of confidence in him. He could close games. He could be an 8th inning guy, 7th and 8th inning guy. Ramage is really trying to make a move to get to be a starter, and his biggest issue and the battle he has is he'll get you for 1 inning, 2 innings, and then it starts to slide, and it's basically fastball command. Because if he gets ahead of you, he can get you. So he was a great starter in high school, had tremendous stuff. His stuff's better now. It's just been able to maintain it and locate it. He's getting a lot stronger now, and his fastball, he can get it up to 92, 93 now. He touched 93 yesterday, which was kind of like wow, and he wants to be that guy. So it just depends on where he's at, but that's a pretty good 7th, 8th, and 9th, and so we feel like with what we have in the bullpen, if Vermillion comes back strong and a couple other guys, if we got them all lined out, if we can get to the 6th inning, with the lead, we got a shot to get you.
Do Benitendi and Keuchel, those guys still come back a lot, or do they work out?
Well, Keuchel came back a year or two ago, or was it last fall? Can't remember. They're kind of running together. I think Andrew may be coming back in the next few weeks, is what I've been told. So, they both are from, Dallas kind of works out down south, and Andrew's from Cincinnati, and so he worked out last year, I think, most of the time in St. Louis in an indoor facility. I think this year he'll come back, and a little bit more. And then, you know, with this new facility we're building, and just have to get that approved in a couple of weeks, we're gonna have like I'm gonna just call it, I mean, the name of it is the professional player locker room. And it may be a locker room that's smaller, but we're gonna have lockers for them. So when they want to come back, because a lot of our guys like to come back, use our indoor facility. You know, they work out here. They lift with our strength and conditioning coach, and you know, you take it a step farther and you give them a place to put their stuff, their gear. I think it's going to make a lot of these guys want to come back and be in this area. At least the ones that maybe aren't married, you know, that have a home somewhere. You know, obviously they're going to go back to that area, but there's some other schools that have done that, and it seems to be working out good for them. But I think that could help draw some of the guys back a little bit.
So you're gonna have a locker room for the pro guys. That's cool.
Yeah.
I know McCann lived here, but then when he had his kids, I think they had to be in Nashville at the
Yeah.
pediatric deal.
Yeah, it was closer to that, closer to the where she had delivered the babies, and also her parents could come help out because she's from Kentucky, his wife, and you know, obviously James is from the West Coast, so it worked out for him because he loves it here. He had a house here and everything. I think he still owns it, might be renting
He
it.
just rents it out to the guys that play for the Naturals.
He's rented it out to his brother, probably for free. He's had, you know, there's been a lot of, and that's a smart move.
Thanks, Coach.
All right.